Folks, you can't make this shit up. After presiding over months of skyrocketing grocery prices, after facing backlash and brutal poll after brutal poll after brutal poll on his economic mismanagement, Donald Trump is now publicly saying, you know what? The price of eggs are actually too low. They need to come back up. It's an insane tone deaf statement, and we have to talk about it. But before we do, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. Donald Trump says unhinged things all the time. It's hard to believe that these words would leave his mouth. Why would you say this? And yet, that's exactly what he said. We're going to play this clip and unpack it together. But brace yourselves, because it's one of the dumber things that Donald Trump has ever said.
You can have all the eggs you want. We have too many eggs. In fact, if anything, the prices are getting too low. So I just want to let you know, prices are down. You can have all.
Just like, why would you say that? Grocery inflation has again been very high under Donald Trump's watch. He said he would snap his fingers on day one and end it all. It's gotten worse. And here he is saying on Easter weekend, you know what? You have whatever eggs you want. It's that's actually the eggs are too cheap. We actually need egg prices to go up. I mean, stunning stuff. Friend of the show, Jessica Tarlov of Fox News, says, I'm not usually for egg talk, but he's asking for it. And she posts a screenshot about how U.S. egg prices increased to record high, dashing hopes of cheap eggs by Easter. And if you look at people quoting this, I mean, the reaction to this on social media has been brutal. Joe from Jers, this is just a fucking blatant lie. Brandon Lorenz says, wait, too low? It's Tom Nichols, I believe, of The Atlantic, says, listen, you decadent egg-gorging masses, it's time to raise egg prices so you'll stop scarfing them down like bonbons. Sure, Jan, eggs are over $6. Everyone that has functioning eyes knows this is a complete bullshit. Mike Mitchell points out one superpower of Trump's is he understands you can lie very aggressively about things, and people have an instinct to believe it. He can say, gas prices are falling so fast, and many people, not just MAGA diehards, will believe him over their lying eyes. Sean Wise, can someone please tell Kroger this? Just an out-of-touch dipshit. What the fuck is going on? This gif from Arrested Development. I blanked on it there. I mean, it's one banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10? You know, that gif capturing a privileged, out-of-touch, very wealthy person, not understanding the pains of grocery buying and grocery budgeting that the rest of the country have to deal with. I mean, it's so funny seeing the backlash to this. And again, it wasn't a joke. He said it. He said it. Those words were uttered. And we're going to get into some articles here in just a second. But again, let's think about the politics of this. Donald Trump is underwater. He is objectively unpopular. He has the second least popular presidency in recorded history. The most unpopular, the least popular, is Donald Trump in term one, right? So the only president whom Trump is more popular than now is himself in his first term. President Biden was more popular at this point in his presidency. President Obama, President Bush, President Clinton, President George H.W. Bush, President Reagan, President Carter. He's historically unpopular. And given his previous unjustified advantages with respect to the economy, you would think that he would be trying to claw that back. And instead, even though he swore to voters he would snap his fingers and end inflation and the cost of living, we're going to get it all down on day one. It's skyrocketed. These things have skyrocketed on his watch. And now he's saying, well, I've only been in office for 3 months. Well, you said you'd end it on day one. Don't get mad at us for holding you to the standard that you created for yourself, dumbass. You were effectively begging people for your votes. You sold them a bill of goods. And now you're upset that people are holding you to your word. We've also seen recent polling, as we've discussed in recent videos, how more people now, rightly, they should have been doing this on day one, but more people, the public's finally caught up. More people blame the current state of the economy on Donald Trump than President Biden, even though Trump and his MAGA allies in and out of office and the right-wing media are desperate to try to pitch this as Joe Biden's fault. So the backlash is real. Trump is underwater on the economy. He has one of the lowest approval ratings on the economy at this point in his presidency than any president. And think about it. What a reversal. He not only enjoyed the base Republican buff, again, totally unjustified, but Republicans have had a long-standing advantage with respect to perception on the economy. Donald Trump had that, and then even more so because he's this mimetic, TV billionaire. Oh, he must be a business genius, and he squandered all of it. And then on top of that, you say something like this. Let's look at some articles here. Politico. European eggflation slows down as American prices surge under Trump. Prices are still rising in Europe, but not as fast as in recent years and nothing like in the US. The prices of eggs is still under control in Europe, just as Donald Trump's administration steps up an international egg hunt to combat shortages amid record prices in the US. Egg prices in the EU did increase over the past year, but at a slower rate than in years prior, the bloc stat agency Eurostat reported Thursday. Egg prices in March were, on average, 6.7% higher in the EU than last March, an acceleration from the 2 preceding months. But even with these increases, the price rises are still much slower than in 2022 and 2023. The US, meanwhile, continues to grapple with a major outbreak of avian influenza, or bird flu, which has forced the culling of millions of laying hens. In March, US egg prices climbed to an all-time high of $6.23 a dozen. Trump fumed on Thursday morning that actually egg prices were down. The data shows egg prices were at $4.90 a dozen in January before President Biden left office. In a social media post complaining that the European Central Bank had had found room to cut interest rates. So again, stunning stuff here. That even the European Union is managing this much better than Donald Trump with respect to prices. The libertarian publication Reason also wrote an article about how Donald Trump's trade policy is actually making the situation worse, certainly not helping. Trump wants egg prices lowered. He's also putting tariffs on imported eggs. The White House's trade policy is totally scrambled. See what they did there? The Trump administration can't seem to decide whether it wants the price of eggs to fall or rise. That might tell you something about the White House's confused, economically illiterate approach to trade policy more generally. At a cabinet meeting in late February, Trump demanded action to reduce egg prices. "We have to get the prices down," he said. "The prices of eggs and various other things," which sure enough sounds like communist Marxist socialist price control. What are you going to do? Are you going to use the power of the state to pressure private sector to lower their egg, or to not increase their profits, to keep prices artificially low? Wow. That sounds like central planning price control. That sounds like communism. That's what we'd be told and have been told when Democratic administrations suggest us you can't use the power of the state to influence business. I guess unless you're a Republican and it's really politically beneficial. So again, by the way, Democrats should think like, hey, you know what? Maybe all this communism talk, this communism charge is total bullshit, from hypocritical MAGA Republicans and Republicans. And maybe we just should do what we think is right, regardless of what the flack will be that we'll get. But regardless, egg prices spiked to an average of $5.90 per dozen in February, largely due to a bird flu epidemic that led to the death of over 30 million chickens during the winter months. In response, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced plans to import more eggs, largely from South Korea and Turkey. Yes, those would be turkey eggs, not turkey eggs. Get it? Just weeks later, the Trump administration slapped a 10% global tariff on nearly all imports to America, including those foreign eggs. Quote, will those eggs be tariffed in Turkey, coming in from Turkey or South Korea, wherever they are? Yes, they will. But the market in America is already adjusting. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told Fox News earlier this month. She said tariffs would not cause a further spike in egg prices. But this makes a little sense. Tariffs are taxes paid by consumers in the form of higher prices. So the tariffs on imported eggs are directly raising the price of the very imports that were supposed to help reduce the price that Americans pay for eggs, and just in time for Easter. Trump was right in February to worry about rising prices, which people don't like. Democrats paid a political price for presiding over an economy beset by high inflation in 2024, and Republicans are probably right to fret that they will be blamed for it next if prices of eggs continue to set uncomfortably high records. So then why pursue tariff policies that deliberately hike prices? There's actually a more fundamental question to be asked here. If the Trump administration believes that increasing air to imports, that is engaging in more trade on the global market, is one way to reduce the price of eggs, might that same logic apply to other goods as well? Tariffs reduce imports and limit competition, which naturally causes prices to rise, even for goods that are made in America and aren't directly subject to the tariffs. Those additional imports might be helping keeping prices from spiking even higher. In its weekly report on the egg market, the USDA said that, quote, price levels to the consumer have eased considerably from earlier highs, but remain at levels not conducive to more than normal purchasing needs. But there's no doubt that tariffs will apply pressure in the opposite direction. As things stand now, the Trump administration's egg policy is completely scrambled. So there you have it. Uh, Donald Trump, with a tone deaf, politically illiterate response, saying that actually, no, the prices of eggs should be higher, even as he seems to be pressuring companies to keep prices from increasing. Again, things that he would have considered communist price control tactics had the shoe been on the other foot. And his tariff policy will only make things worse, not make things better. It's really stupid and tone deaf and dumb, and Democrats should pounce on this. That should be on political ads between now and the midterm elections. Like, Donald Trump actually thinks that your grocery prices are too low, America. Interesting stuff. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.